Good afternoon. The defragmentation and recovery process has been halted due to the presence of an N-class polymorphic virus. At this time, we regret to inform you that your father is in stasis quarantine.
3rdegree were formed in 1990 in New Jersey in America with the aim of creating music that was a cross between prog rock and more accessible music, with tunes and hook lines and choruses and so on. They made a couple of albums, then they floundered and split, but they reformed again in the late noughties and are currently making some headway and getting noticed, thanks in large to the internet and prog archives in particular. They're now up to 6 studio albums in total. Hi, my name's Dan, and this is a review of the album Ones and Zeros Volume 1 by 3rdegree, which was their 5th studio album and was released in 2015. Now, this channel is dedicated to reviews of the 3,000 best albums of all time, according to a list by Acclaimed Music. It's a great list. And I'm somewhat heading towards halfway through that list. That's a lot of reviews. And hopefully I will manage to persevere and finish. But occasionally I step off that list to do something else as a review. And they find their way onto the channel as well. And one of the categories that I have for that is what I call hidden gems. This is one of those. It's an album that I don't think many people will have heard of, but possibly even in the prog world, they're not particularly well known. So here I am. Here's my review of them. I came across them whilst I was doing a big exploration of third wave prog about 15 years or so ago. I think it was, maybe not quite that, 12, 15 anyway. So there was what's called third wave prog, is basically prog rock from somewhere from about the mid-90s onwards. Before that, in the 80s, we had what's called neo-prog, which tended to use synths quite a lot. And then before that, the core first wave, if you like, of prog was 1969 to 1970s. When I say prog, I mean progressive rock. Which is a genre of music that started with that name because it was pushing the boundaries of music and taking it in, particularly stretching the complexity of the music. And I would say that was how it was in the 70s, and there was quite a variety of stuff that got labelled progressive. Neo prog was it had a lot of similarities to it, but it was more commercial, and as I say, used more synths. I think the archetype for that was Marillion, and then now we're in third wave prog, which has lasted for quite a while now. I think that there's a certain embedded approach to prog now that makes it no longer progressive with a small p in the way that it's pushing the boundaries, but it's still a style of music that I enjoy, so it's good. So onto this album then specifically. Stylistically, this ranges, I would say, from poppy to quite hard rock, verging on metal, but not quite getting off the diving board into the pool of metal here, but nearly there. There's a crisp and clear sound. There's often quite a lot going on. There's sometimes more complex rhythms and the way the rhythm is put out between the different instruments. There's lots of instruments. There's quite a lot of keys stuff going on here. They're also quite happy to embellish with sound effects, but also so particularly using kind of digital sound twinkling noises that make you think of computers, or at least the implication of computers from probably 60s sci-fi movies and that sort of thing. The playing is good. Of course, you'd expect that from anything labelled prog. The music's right up my street. People who've been on my channel for a while know that I'm a bit of a prog head. there's not a huge amount of prog in the list that I'm reviewing. So sometimes when I'm stepping off, I'm using the chance to bring some prog that I've encountered more to the fore. So it's definitely my kind of thing. It's varied and interesting, but it's not too clinical. Sometimes prog can have the problem where it's kind of loses feel and becomes an exercise in technicalities. And this, I don't feel, does that. I especially like the drumming on this album. It's quite nicely done and put together. The singing, so there is a lead singer, and I can't remember any of the names off the top of my head right now, but they all, I don't know about all, there's certainly several of them that sing, and it's quite high and poppy voices, so it reminds me of other voices from, well, there was a kind of period for a bit earlier than this, maybe about 10 years earlier than this, so bands like the Hoosiers and The Feeling, and there's another band called Jellyfish from San Francisco who had this kind of high thing. To some extent, I think Shiga Rose is got a similar style of voice. Not growly, it's kind of clear and high. Lots of harmonies, by which I mean harmonic, people singing in harmony, which is nicely done, nicely produced, the harmonic stuff. And bits of interleaved kind of madrigal-like approach where you've got different lines saying different things with different notes, and it makes a complex approach to the vocals, which reminds me at times of, there's a band called Gentle Giant, who were one of the stable 70s prog bands who particularly had a thing for doing this kind of vocals. There are some other vocals in here, which are spoken word, and they're computer-like voice. So that we're used to the fact that computers have fairly normal voices now. Well, 11 years on from this album, this spoken voice sounds very much like GLaDOS from Portal. It's got that kind of computer-y kind of sound to the voice, which is all done deliberately to, to indicate that this is a computer that's talking. The whole thing is a concept album about digital technology, and it's particularly telling a story about the digitization of personality in order to live beyond biological death and some subsequent data problems. It's got a kind of, I'm going to say Stanley Kubrick. And the thing that comes to mind about Stanley Kubrick is he has this thing about things that are meant to be ideal but go wrong. And this is one of those. It's something that's meant to be ideal, but it's flawed and it goes wrong. So why do I like it? Well, musically, it appeals to me. Generally, it's entertaining. It's nicely done. It's got a nice, coherent story, and it's fun. It's not, I would say, it's not unapproachable. I think some people find some prog less approachable than others. I'd say it is fairly complex. It's not the easiest, but it's not the hardest. It's somewhere in the middle there, depending on what you like. And actually, I felt like occasionally, maybe this is something to do with the vocals and the harmonies. It felt similar in feel to Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys at times, but with more complexity to it. So anyway, that's what I think of this album. Obviously, I like it. That's why I've chosen to review it when I've gone off list. And if you know it, and I'd be surprised if there are many people out there who do know it, then please tell me what you think of it. If you don't know it and it sounds interesting, why not have a listen? And then why not let me know what you think? By leaving me a comment. That's the way to let me know anything. But that's it from me for now.
Before we start